Welcome to the Shaman's Path, a journey into the realms of ancient wisdom, modern healing, and the mystical unknown. I'm your host, Nicole Berrios, shamanic healer, acupuncturist, and guide on this adventure to other realms of reality. Join me as we tread the path less traveled, exploring the deep roots of shamanism, the art of healing, and the profound connection between the human spirit and the world around us. We'll explore how shamanic healing can transform emotional pain and trauma into strength and resilience. Together, we'll unlock the doors to your inner power, helping you become your best and most powerful self. We'll go down the rabbit hole of consciousness, diving deep into topics like energy work, the spirit world, ancestral healing, past life regression, and how the natural world impacts us. So grab your metaphorical drum and come journey with us into the heart of shamanism. We'll see you on the Shaman's Path. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Shaman's Path. I'm your guide, Nicole Berrios. And you guys, it has been a hot minute. It has been almost 5 months to the date since I recorded my last episode. I really did not mean to fall off the face of the earth as much as I did, but for anybody who's new, welcome. And for those who have been with me for a little bit, you know that a big part of what makes this podcast unique, at least in my opinion, not that I've listened to everybody's podcast, but one thing that I pride myself on with this podcast is that I do the work too. So this podcast is all about shamanism. You know, like we go down the rabbit hole, we do a deep dive on shamanic healing and how it can help people. And I like to help people be reconnected with the magic in the mundane and the mystery and the nature and the spirituality around life in general. And as part of that, I do the work on myself. I'm really, really big on doing all of the work that I tell people about on myself. I also have a personal practice or a private practice where I work on others. I do shamanic healing on others. I'm also an acupuncturist, so I do acupuncture, Chinese herbalism, shamanic healing on clients in person, as well as doing all of this work on myself. And shamanic work is nothing if not personal. It's always pretty unique to each individual, and everybody's got their own journey or their own path, which is why I chose the word path for my podcast and for my business, Path of Wellness. I love the word path. I feel like we're all travelers. We all have our own journeys. We're all going down our own path. And that applies to me too. I am literally on the shaman's path. I am walking the path of the shaman, doing all of this deep healing work. So anyways, I bring all of that up because I wanted to give you a brief rundown. I say brief now, but let's get real, guys. We all know that I can't be succinct with anything, so I'll do my best. But my last episode was January 25th. And so I was wondering, like, why has it been so long? Like, I know I've been busy, but like, what the heck was going on January 25th? Why was that my last episode? And then I realized, that's because February is a rough month for Nicole. I don't want to go too much into this, but my daughter's birthday is in February, and I had a really, really traumatic labor and delivery with her. And February is my trauma trigger month, basically. And I'm used to it by this point. Like my daughter is 5 now, and so it's been 5 years. The first year, her first birthday, I was blindsided by the trauma response, transference, like really picking up on emotional things around anniversaries is very real. It's a very real phenomenon. I see it all the time in my clients. And I see it in my husband a lot too. And I've noticed it in myself as well. But sometimes, especially when you're the one who's going through something and approaching some sort of an anniversary, you can be blindsided by it because it's hard to see things when you're in the thick of it. It's easier for other people to see things because they can be objective, whereas you cannot, typically. And so, yeah, at the end of January, it's usually when I'm starting to feel the hints of like the old just somatic trauma response. And then into February, it's pretty rough going. I have to give myself a lot of grace in that month. I'll do episodes about this in the future, just like having grace with yourself and being kind to yourself with what you're going through. So basically, yeah, February is a rough month, but I had the craziest healing experience at the end of February, like after my daughter's birthday had already passed. And I'll probably have to do a whole episode just on that. Let's just say it involved a colonic. If you guys have never received a colonic, you should get one. I went to go get this colonic for like specifically colonic related reasons, you know, just like when you go to get one, it's because you just like want your digestion to have a reset, basically. I went for that. Instead, I got that, but what I got out of it was this amazing somatic birth healing experience that I was completely not expecting. And it's almost like I was blindsided by this healing that came through. And yeah, I'm totally going to have to do an episode just on that. Maybe. I don't know. It was pretty personal, but also it was so wildly healing and potent, and it was definitely shamanic energy medicine that I wasn't expecting. And in just the months since then, since I had this crazy healing experience, I've had a lot more space to show up in my life. And I've also had to like get some things in the mundane world situated to better support me and better support my life and my business and all of that. So anyways, I've been busy doing some deep healing work, and then as a result of the deep healing work, getting my life in order. Because like I said, my daughter's 5 now. I don't know how I've managed to accomplish anything since she was born. Like the fact that I opened my private practice when she was a baby blows my mind. In hindsight, I have no idea how I managed to accomplish that. My private practice anniversary date is June 1st. That's coming up like in a week. I cannot believe I did that while I was in the thick of the trauma. Because, yeah, there was a lot there. So basically, I've been spending the last 5 years doing some incredibly deep, powerful, painful healing work. I say painful because I had a lot of stuff I needed to work through. But I have done a lot of the work, and it's good. But it really did take up a lot of time, and it's like when you're in the thick of trauma, it can be really hard to function in the rest of your life. And so now that I've done so much deep healing work around this, and we had the 5-year anniversary, I'm able to have, like I said, to have more space to show up and to focus on myself and really figure out where I'm going with my business, which that's what I've been working on. I've been taking this newfound space that I suddenly have and making my life easier. And as a result of that, I am, let me just share with you guys. So that was my like deep healing story. And that was brief. That was really brief for me. So go me. But as a result of that, one of the things that I've decided I wanted to do that is kind of a big deal for me is I am creating a personal brand. I've kind of been hiding behind Path of Wellness, which is my business name. And I realized, like, through doing all of this healing work, especially healing the birth trauma, that I've been using Path of Wellness as like a buffer. It kind of like protects me when all of my spirit guides, my whole team has been encouraging me for a while now that it's time to actually put myself out there. And what that has wound up looking like for me is stepping out from behind the buffer of Path of Wellness and becoming a personal brand. And as a result of that, I've had so much actual mundane work that needs to get done to accomplish this. I've had to create a whole new personal brand website, which is still in process, and then figure out what that even looks like. And as a result of that, I'm finally putting together some things that I've really been wanting to do. I think I might have even mentioned some of these things in my last episode 5 months ago. And as a part of this personal brand, it's just going to be me, NicoleBerrios.com. I am creating some courses. And one of them, this one I've been wanting to do for a couple of years now. It's on power animals. I'm in the middle of creating a course on power animals. I'm super freaking stoked about this. It's been, like I said, a long time coming. And because of that, that's kind of what this episode is going to be about. I wanted to talk about power animals because I'm working on this course. I'm going to be launching it hopefully by the summer solstice. We'll see. If not the summer solstice, then shortly thereafter. But I'm going to be releasing this power animal course. I'm really excited about it. And yeah, that's what this episode is going to be all about. So I'm, like I said, trying to keep this succinct. As usual, if anything is unclear or you don't know what I'm talking about, you could always send me an email or just reach out and I will clarify things. But yeah, I've been going through a lot, healing a lot. And now I'm mostly on the other side of it. And I'm like, whoa, now I can actually put my life back together in a more thoughtful, meaningful, and intentional way. So that's what I'm doing. And now we have the birth of this personal brand and the birth of the Power Animal course. And there is soon to be a monthly membership following. I've got an outline for it, but I'm going to launch the Power Animal course first and the membership will come later. So stay tuned for that. So that's enough update about me. That was 11 minutes worth of update. Thanks for listening, you guys. I feel like that's also just part of the podcast, right? We're talking about shamanic work. I'm doing the shamanic work. Personal development is my number one value in life. And so I'm all about it. I'm here for it. I'm assuming you guys are here for it too. And so, yeah, that's what I've been doing. Really, really deep healing work. And now I'm mostly on the other side. So thanks for listening. If you are new to the show, this is a segment that I like to call What's Happening in the Stars. And because it's been 5 months since I've done this, I feel like, yeah, let's talk about what's happening in the stars right now. So today, this episode will probably launch later in the week, but today is, I think, May 24th. I'm pretty sure it's May 24th. I should have looked at that before I started recording. We're in the peak of Gemini season. Okay, I'm a Gemini. My sun is in Gemini. My birthday's coming up. I have a milestone birthday, actually. Brownie points if you can guess how old Nicole is turning. Spirit brownie points. It's better than any kind of special brownie. Geminis are talkers, y'all. If you didn't get that just by listening to me babble, now you know. Geminis are talkers. We talk. And when we cross over into Gemini season, I don't know if this applies to just me because I'm a Gemini and maybe other Geminis too, or if this is universal, regardless of what sign your sun is in. But when we hit Gemini season, it's like creative overload for me. like I get flooded with all of this, all of these ideas, and I'm kind of an idea factory anyways, but when we are in Gemini season, it's like intense. Like sometimes I wish I could clone myself so that I could do something with all of these ideas. There's just like too many of them, and there's only one of me, and there's not enough time or just resources to implement the ideas. So that's where I've been at a little bit before we crossed into Gemini season, but I mean it's only been a couple of days, but I've been productive in these last couple of days, just really really taking all of the ideas that I've had, and just honing them and actually doing something with them. And this is part of the Power Animal course too. That's the Power Animal course has been something I've wanted to create for a while now, and now I finally feel like I've got the space for it. And then we cross into Gemini season, and it's like, boom, full steam ahead, let's go. And so what's happening in the stars right now? Gemini season. It's Gemini talkative energy. It's a little more fast paced. We're coming up to the summer solstice, so the days are longer. We get a lot more sunlight. When does the sun go down now? Like close to 8, I think, and it comes up at 5, I think. Like it gets light pretty. I also live in Arizona where we don't observe the time change, so I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the country and in the world where you guys mess with your clocks. Y'all need to stop doing that, by the way. I don't know why Arizona's the only state, this is a tangent, but I don't know why Arizona's the only state that doesn't mess with the clocks. So I always know what time it is in Arizona, but I have no idea what time it is in other states. It's a bit frustrating because I have family and friends that live in other states and I can never remember what time it is. It's like, wait, I have family in California. I totally thought they were an hour behind us the other day because my daughter wanted to send a message to somebody, and I'm like, no, we gotta wait because they're an hour behind and it's still early there. And then my husband was like, no, they're on the same time as us. I'm like, they are? I'm like, God, I can't keep track of this. So yeah, we're on Pacific time right now, but in the fall we'll be on Mountain time. Anyways, the time change is obnoxious. In Arizona, we get a lot of light here. I'm assuming there's a lot of light in other places that observe the time change. But I feel like it's different in Arizona because we haven't messed with anything. But my tangent aside, there is a lot more light. There's a lot more energy. Everything's a bloom. I feel like we're mostly out of allergy season here. We have these Palo Verde trees here in Arizona. They're beautiful. In the springtime, they bloom, and they have these beautiful yellow flowers. They're really messy. They get everywhere. They're so pretty to look at, and it gets windy here, and they like sway in the breeze, and it's so pretty. But also, those Palo Verde trees really mess people up. They make the worst allergy symptoms. So the Palo Verde trees are mostly done at this point. They might have one tiny little bloom left, but then they're mostly done. But yes, so things are in bloom. The bees are abuzz. I've seen a bunch of sunflowers around here lately. I don't know if people are planting them intentionally or if they're just wild, but either way, it's really pretty. I'm loving the sunflowers. And so, yeah, I feel like you can probably get the gist of what's happening right now just based on my fast talking. It's like Gemini season. It's faster. There's more energy. There's more vitality. There's more light. There's more flowers. There's more animals. There's more birds. The birds are pretty obnoxious. They'll wake you up really early in the morning. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So and we just had the full moon. The full moon was in Scorpio, I believe. So anyways, there's just like peak buzzy energy right now. So if you're feeling a little buzzy, that's pretty normal. If you're feeling like it's a little bit hard to sleep, also normal. If you're feeling crazy energy bursts, normal. If you're getting tons of ideas and downloads and so much information that you don't know what to do with it, that's normal. Take a breath. You're in good company. That being said, what I have found I need to do is I really need to ground all of this energy, because Gemini is an air sign. So it's just swirly. It's, yeah, like the fact that I am able to get anything done at all, I feel is a medical miracle. Any other Gemini, like, do you know what I mean? And my rising is in Libra, which is another air sign, and I have so much air. I don't know how I don't just have wings, to be honest, and just flying somewhere. And yeah, so that's kind of the energy of the season. So if you're feeling it all that way, it's normal. If you're a Gemini, you're probably feeling it a little bit more intensely, and it's important to ground that in. So what does that look like? For me, it's literally just going outside and putting my feet in the rocks, because we're in Arizona. We don't really have a lot of dirt here. And or I'll put my feet, we have a pool, I'll put my feet in the pool. It's literally grounding myself by putting my feet on earth or in water. And putting my phone away, my phone and my notebooks. I have so many notebooks, you guys, because again, Gemini, words, downloads, information. I'm always wanting to write stuff down or read things, and yeah, it can just be a bit much. So I intentionally have to put all of my stuff down and create time and space for me to just focus on breathing and being. And this is part of my shamanic practice. And how I connect with the magic around me is I want to embrace the Gemini energy, or whatever sign we're in. Like, I want to embody the vibe of the season, but also, especially if it's kind of impacting my daily life, or, I'm not really struggling to function. I'm almost just like hyper functioning at this point, because I'm just so buzzy. I have to make intentional practices to, like I said, ground the energy and better utilize it, I suppose, because there's a lot that I could be doing with all of this energy. So I really have to focus. I just have to focus it. And so if you're feeling it all that way right now, that's what I would recommend, that you just find a way to ground your energy. It could even be as simple as just eating something, or drinking some water, or holding on to some rocks, or, wearing a crystal necklace or something. Anything that just kind of reminds you, like, oh, right, come back into your body, take some breaths. Don't let your energy just fly away on the wings of Gemini spirit. So yeah, that's what's happening in the stars right now. It's just airy. It's also really windy where I live. I don't think that's a coincidence. We get a lot of wind here anyways, but I love it when it's windy during the air sign seasons. I feel like it's appropriate. So I've been doing a lot of like wind, I call it wind dancing or wind magic. Like, I totally charged up a wand that I made with wind magic energy. So that is what is happening in the stars. And now on to our main segment of the show, the magic of power animals. I mentioned earlier that I've been working on a course about power animals. It's going to release hopefully around the summer solstice, if not shortly thereafter. I'm calling it Power Animal Magic. And in the lead up to the release of this course, I thought I would do a series of podcast episodes talking about power animals and like getting people hyped up for the course, because it's going to be super awesome. I'm really proud of this course. I think it's going to be potent medicine for people. And so in the lead up to that, I thought in this episode I would explain a bit like how this course came about, talk a little bit about what power animals are and how they can benefit an individual. And then in the coming episodes, they'll be like shorter. I say shorter. We'll see how that goes. But really, they're going to be like more mini episodes that just answers specific questions about power animals. And so that's what I'm all about right now, since I'm making a course on power animals. So the course that I'm making is called Power Animal Magic. Now, I've mentioned, you guys already know, I do acupuncture, I do shamanic healing on people. And when people come into my office for shamanic work, they almost always receive a power animal during their first visit. I'm trying to think if anybody has not received a power animal for their first visit. I don't think there has been. Maybe in the very, very beginning when I first started my practice, because I was new and still figuring out my flow. But no, I think just about everybody gets a power animal on their very first visit. And I'll go into, well, I guess I'll just answer this now. Like, what is a power animal? If you guys are wondering, a power animal is a spirit guide in animal form. Like, that's all it is. If you've heard the terms animal totem or spirit animal or spirit helper in animal form, they're all talking about the same thing. Like, you can use all of these terms interchangeably. They're all talking about power animals. So whatever term resonates with you, that's totally fine. You can use whatever words resonate best with you. I like to use the term power animal because these spirit guides in animal form ultimately are there. They come into your life to help bring you a piece of power. And the whole purpose of doing shamanic healing is to power you up. Shamanic healing is to help pull out your traumas, your like energy imprints, things that make you have bad habits. Like they pull things out of your body and it replaces it with power instead. And that's typically what happens during a session when I'm working with somebody doing shamanic work is we do a clearing of some sort. We pull something out that doesn't belong in the body and we fill it up with power. And on the first visit, it almost always comes in the form of a power animal. And so everybody that leaves my office leaves with a power animal. So when I do a shamanic session, I am like a shaman travels between the worlds. So I'm half in ordinary reality and half in non-ordinary reality, or the spirit world. And like I find the power animal for the client and I bring it back to them. And then, when the session is all over, I have to disconnect from the spirit world and I have to come back into my body, and like the client needs to do the same thing because they're impacted by this spirit work too, even though they might not necessarily be doing the traveling like I'm doing. And basically, I'm a little tapped out at the end of a session. It's definitely gotten better the more that I've done it. Like, I've built up a tolerance and I can come back into my body easier now, which is good because it was pretty bad in the beginning. It took me like weeks to recover from doing like one. It's a lot better now, so that's good. But I guess I bring all of that up because I only have so much time when I'm working with a client, and I'm already half in a different reality when I'm working with the client. And so when it comes to like teaching this, client what to do with their power animal, I don't have a lot of time. And it's also like hard for me to go from like, I'm in non-ordinary reality to like, okay, now I'm in ordinary reality teaching mode. Like there's not enough time for me to really explain and teach my clients what they should be doing and how with their power animals. So this whole story was a way of me describing how the course Power Animal Magic has come about. It's come about out of necessity. I've had so many people that I've done power animal retrievals for ask me, like, how do I connect with my power animal? Like, what are my next steps? And I always give them little bits of what they can do at the end of their session, like some basic stuff, but it is really basic. It's very, it's like just getting started. But there's so much more you can do with a power animal, as I know, because I'm the shamanic practitioner. Like, I have 7 different power animals. Most people will not have that many, by the way. It's just doing the work that I do. I need to have a big team, and they all serve various different purposes. But I have individual relationships with all of them, and I know how to work with them. And it's just like a skill that I've developed over time. And I'm releasing this course because I want to teach this skill not only to my clients who I do the power animal retrievals for, but also to the world at large. So the purpose of this course is partly to teach my clients the stuff that they need to know about how to really connect with their power animal and receive the full benefit from it. But also so that people, like, I can't do power animal retrievals for everybody. Like, it's just, I'm only one person, and there's like 8.5 billion people on the planet. Like, it's just not physically possible. And so this is my way of helping as many people as want it to be able to find their own power animal with a guided shamanic journey. Like, I will guide people through this process. So like, you'll still kind of have me there with you, and then teach you what to do afterwards, how to connect with it, how to incorporate it into your life, how to receive its full power, how to honor it. Basically my power animal magic course has been born out of necessity, because I just haven't been able to teach my clients this in my office, and they really, really have been needing this information. And also, I just really wanted to create this course. My particular power animals, like I said, I've got 7 of them. They have been wanting me to release this course for a while. But as I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, I've been going through my own, healing through trauma and birth trauma and all of that. And I've heavily relied on my power animals for a lot of this, by the way. So I've had other stuff that I needed to do. And ultimately, it's all just led me to this path of like teaching people how to do this for themselves. And so that's kind of the gist of like why Power Animal Magic was created. It's to help people find their own power animals, learn how to connect with them, learn how to get the most benefit from them. So I mentioned a power animal is a spirit guide in animal form. Totally. Why or how can a power animal help an individual? Like, why do power animals come to people? Ultimately, they help heal, they help protect, and they help guide. And don't forget that word power is in the name. They help to empower people. That's the ultimate goal of shamanism, is to help empower people. If you think of like literally any problem you could have, whether it's like physical or emotional or like something, something wrong with your house, like any particular problem you can think of, most problems make people feel disempowered in some way, right? Like if you've got some sort of a sickness or, a physical ailment, or you're suffering with like mental health issues, all of these things make you feel disempowered. And that makes you feel like you can't show up in the world as fully and as brightly as you know that you're capable of. And when you receive a power animal, they bring power into your life. They help to make you feel more empowered. And as a result of that, a lot of people's issues will either go away entirely or they will become much more manageable. For example, if somebody is struggling with mental health issues, maybe they have depression or bipolar or something like that, having a power animal and really learning how to work with and connect with this power animal can really ease the symptoms of those mental health issues. They can make them much more bearable. They can make episodes less frequent. They can help you to like embrace your mental health struggles as like part of who you are and a part of what makes you powerful. Like it's a total perspective shift when you have a power animal who comes into your life. Like, this is how they can help you. And this is so why I needed to create this course, because I feel like I haven't been able to, I'll give my clients everything they need so that they can achieve this with their power animals. I can help them a little bit when they come into my office for subsequent visits. If they want to do deeper, like if they want their visit and they've already received a power animal, they want to focus their visit on like connecting more with the animal, I can do that in subsequent visits. But in general, this is a personal relationship that you will form with the power animal. It's unique to every individual. And it's been really hard to get people to connect to power animals in the way that I've been able to as a shaman, just because there hasn't been enough time. But I know personally the magic that they bring into somebody's life. And so that's why I've said this like 6 times. That's why I've created this course, because power animals make you feel more empowered. And they, like I said, they help heal in their own way. They help protect and they help guide. So how they protect an individual, it's more on the spiritual level. So anybody who's doing any sort of spirit work, anybody who works one-to-one with clients in a healing capacity, think, like counselors can benefit from power animals. Literally anybody can benefit from a power animal, but people who are in like specific fields like counseling, or they do Reiki or massage therapists, like anybody who works with somebody in a healing capacity would really benefit from having a power animal. People who are like more psychically attuned and aware of the energy around them can benefit from a power animal. People who do dream work, like dream interpretation, lucid dreaming, power animals can super benefit you because they can help protect you while you're in the dream world. Because power animals are spirit guides in animal form, they are spirit. They live in non-ordinary reality. So they know the lay of the land much better than us humans and our human bodies ever will. Unless you do shamanic work and spend a lot of time there. Although I'm not saying that I am a complete expert in that. I use the help of my power animals to guide me through non-ordinary reality as well, because they know the lay of the land. They're like the Sherpas, like they're the tour guides. They'll guide you through this territory that you are not familiar with. So anybody who does like any sort of spiritual work, dream work, shadow work, power animals will be great for you. And then anybody who's got any sort of, physical, emotional ailment that makes them feel disempowered will benefit from working with a power animal. Or anybody who just wants to feel more in tune and more connected and more like their primal nature, or more wild, will benefit from working with a power animal. Like, honestly, the benefits are endless. Anybody can work with a power animal. Anybody can get benefit from them. So these spirit guides in animal form, they come as they're animals. They're the spirit of an animal. They can be literally any animal. I tell all of my clients when I'm going to be retrieving a power animal for them to have zero expectations as to what animal might come through for them, because it can be literally anything. It can be an ant. It can be an eagle. It can be anything in between. It could even be an animal that does not exist in ordinary reality. That's happened several times in my practice, actually. You would be surprised how often that happens. Like, think mythical animals. Those can be power animals too. Like, just because they're not real in ordinary reality, at least not that I'm aware of, doesn't mean they're not real in the spirit world. So, any animal can be a power animal. I always tell people, don't expect anything, have no preconceived notions. You never know what's going to show up. But whatever animal does come through for you will be relevant for you. It will be an animal that brings a piece of power that you desperately need in your life at that point in time. And that's why they come to you, because they know that they can help you and they can bring their own medicine in their own way. And so that's that's the benefit of working with a power animal and why I created this course. I don't want to, how long have I talked now? 16 minutes? Yeah, I don't want to go into too much more detail in this episode because I've got a lot of the Q&A episodes coming up that will be shorter. They won't have the other pieces to it. Like, we won't do spirit messages or what's happening in the stars in those episodes. They'll just be the Q&A. So they will be shorter. But I think that's enough for this episode, just to kind of like whet your palate, let you know this course is happening. I am also in the process of creating, I think I said this earlier in the episode, of creating my personal brand website. It's not ready yet. So in the meantime, if you don't already, subscribe to the podcast so that you get updates on when new episodes drop, which should be regularly from now on. Like, actually, do or do not, there is no try, Nicole. You will be putting episodes out regularly. And so subscribe to the podcast. Also, side note, if you haven't already, please leave a review on the podcast. Either Spotify if you listen on Spotify, or Apple iTunes if you listen there, because that helps the show get found. Like, that'll help it grow more, because, I mean, come on, we can all benefit from power animals. You'll find out even more details why in the following episodes. But yeah, just share the show. If you like the show, follow the show, subscribe. I guess those are all synonymous, but review the show, share it with your friends. That would all be amazing. Like, I just wanted to say, like, it's not about me, the practitioner. It's about the medicine that needs to be shared with the world. So that was just a side note. And it was such a side note, I completely forgot what I was talking about. That is so typical of me. I remember what I was going to say. Because my website is still in progress, that's what I said. Subscribe to the show and follow me on Instagram. Currently, my handle is Path of Wellness Acu. That's going to be changing soon. It's going to become I am Nicole Berrios. In fact, I might even change that today. Yeah, I am Nicole Berrios. I'm excited. We're going all in on this personal brand thing. That being said, I'll still have my Path of Wellness Acu website for people who want to see me in person. But I'll also have a personal brand. So I think that's enough for now. I think I've kind of whet the palate, piqued your curiosity, let you know a little bit about what power animals are and how they can help you, how the course came about. Oh, thank you for listening. And I will see you in just a moment for spirit messages. If you are new to the podcast, this is a segment that I call Spirit Messages. And this is all about exactly what it sounds like. I download or pull a card or whatever. I get a message from Spirit and I relay the information to you. So if you're hearing this message, you probably needed this message right now. And so today's Spirit message is actually... it's from Mockingbird. I thought this was appropriate because this episode was about power animals. I found a pristine, really beautiful mockingbird feather in my backyard yesterday. And it was calling to me, so I picked it up and I have it now for whatever I wind up using it for. So thank you, Mockingbird, for your spirit, for your feather. Thank you for your spirit messages too. And so the message that I'm getting from Mockingbird, I think it's a mockingbird. That might not be the actual name of this bird. I think of them as mockingbirds. They've got long tail feathers. They're probably about, how tall would they be? like 8 inches, like probably about 8 inches tall. They have really long tail feathers. They're kind of like gray with black on their tail. At least that's how the birds here in Arizona are. They're migratory. I only see them at certain times of the year. I think they'll probably be here for another month or two before they migrate to wherever they go, and then I'll see them again in the spring. But I'm assuming they're mockingbirds. I think of them, they're beautiful songbirds. Like they sound so beautiful. And the message that was coming through from mockingbird, especially because its feather came into my yard, I thought it was an appropriate message for me as well, is to express your soul. You know, like there's certain music that I like that would be considered like more heavy, like heavy metal. I love heavy metal. And a lot of the time what I love about it is because it sounds like they are singing or sometimes screaming their soul. It's very powerful. It's actually a technique in shamanism. It's called soul sounding or soul singing. And it really helps you connect with yourself, with your true nature, and it allows your soul to have a voice, to be heard. And what I love about mockingbirds is, well, I guess all birds, but mockingbirds in particular, is they really let their soul out. And it's beautiful, and it's kind of mesmerizing if you stop and you listen to it. And that's the message that was coming through for me, as well as, encouraging me to give you guys this message as well, is to sing your soul. What does that mean? Well, you can literally sing, like if you're not shy at all. This was something that I had to do in my shamanic training, was soul singing. This was the hardest lesson for me to do. I still struggle with it a little bit because it's hard for me anyways. It was really hard to let my soul out and to have a voice. But when I did, I cried because it was so moving and so powerful, and my soul was longing to be heard, even if it was only by myself. It was longing for me to hear it. And so that's kind of the medicine that mockingbird is bringing. Guys, by the way, this is power animal magic right here. Like, this is how you can work with a power animal. You bring their magic into your life, you apply it to your life, and it just makes you feel better, makes you feel more whole, more complete, more powerful as an individual. So, mockingbird medicine. Sing your soul. This could also mean just expressing yourself somehow, preferably through the voice if you can. Like I said, it could be singing, it could be speaking. Maybe you need to recite some poetry. You could literally just go talk to a tree or come into your car and just speak something that's on your soul, or just kind of allow yourself to open up to, like, be open to whatever needs to come through. This is Gemini season after all. Like, there's all kinds of airy, like bird, like downloads that might come through right now. So if you can kind of like settle into that and allow this to come through, I think that would be really, really powerful and magical for you. So thank you to the mockingbird for your feather, and thank you for your magic and your wisdom. And like I said, this is power animal magic. So if it has piqued your interest, definitely continue following me. Eventually I'll have my website up where you can stay on my email list. I'll keep you updated. And that's kind of just a taste of what you can get out of it. That's all I got for you guys today. I know it's been a while. Hopefully in my following episodes, I won't have quite as much to talk about in the introduction. I say that. We'll see what happens. I have to give myself grace. There's always stuff happening, even if I don't have a 5-month hiatus. But thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Thank you for allowing the messages to come through and for receiving the message of mockingbird today. I appreciate you all so much, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of The Shaman's Path. If you enjoyed this episode and are finding this show valuable, please consider leaving us a review on Apple iTunes, telling your friends, or sharing on social media. This helps us get the word out about the awesomeness of Shaman.